Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let me turn my now. That's it. Hi Kim, hi Ginny, good evening. Let's just turn my sound down. There we go. How are we all doing this Monday evening? Start of a new week. Apologies for all the rattling. Oops, sorry, I've not turned that sound off either. Hello Dulcie, good evening. Hi Ginny, you're here, you're on time. It's very exciting. I'll just move those out of the way. Got my cup of tea ready. I've got a few missiles ready to throw at Steve if he doesn't open his eyes when I'm ready to finish. Hi Shelley. Hi Sue, good evening, good evening. I'm so sorry. Hi Connie, I completely forgot to put the live on. I only remembered this afternoon. Hi Dina, hi, good evening. So I've just got my cup of tea. Nice and chilled. Apologies if you can hear a little bit of crunching in the background. Steve's just got some crisps. Hiya Sarah, you alright lovely? Good evening Jill, hiya. Good evening, good evening. So we're going to be doing tonight a little Mother's Day project, or it can be an Easter project. It can work either way. So I have got a bit of a plan. I've got some ready cast rabbits and mushrooms, so we'll just see what they look like when I've finished all the messing about with them. Hi Lorraine Stranger, how are you lovely? Not seen you for ages. Hope you and your sister are okay. And then I'll just wait a couple more moments and then I'll go through what I've got to use, and just to remind everybody that from now on all my lives that I do on a Monday night will be uploaded onto my YouTube channel, which is Liz Wheeler Designs. So as soon as the live is finished, I'll upload it to YouTube and I'll put my link in on the post with the finished project. I know it is broken, isn't it, today, the weather? It's still sunny, but it's very windy up near us. So we can't have the back door open when we open the front door, or it slams and scares everybody, including me. Yeah, so I'll just put my cup of tea away now. I think I've more or less finished it. We've reached double figures for viewing, so that's very exciting. I've got a nice tidy desk. I've been a very good girl today. Even more importantly, I've actually found the notes that I made with Jill last year for the retreats, because we've got our first retreat this weekend, but we had a meeting where we've planned the whole year's retreat stuff, and I've actually found the note. Hi Caroline. Hello, hello. You've not seen the sun at all today, Sue. It's a shame, isn't it? And you've had fog. We sometimes have fog first thing in the morning, and that's just then it burns off really with the sun. Cats are fine. 2 of them are out. One of them's just in front of me there on my little oodie. Hi Lou. So this evening I will be using my Journal It Templates set 7, and I'm going to be using the little gift box. It's like a little ATC size, so you can either use it as a cover for a book, but it also creates, there's a little box template in there to create a little box that sits inside the cover. So it's going to be a little gift box for Mother's Day. I've got some little resin pieces that I'd had cast for ages. I can't remember where that mushroom is from. I'm sure Jill will be able to be the guru of mushrooms tonight. I've no idea where that's from. It's from a mould. But then I've also got some little rabbits here that are from the bestsellers collection, which has the little multitude of little bunnies and cat food. That doesn't come with it, to be honest. Little flowers, little houses. So I've got that one. Hi Patricia. I've also got that one. I don't know where that's from. That's a little miniature one. Don't know where that's from. And then I think these are from the dewdrops, possibly, these little flowers, but I might not use them. Yep, might not use them. So that's very exciting. You're eating chicken and garlic and butter, lovely. I made a shepherd's pie for tea before I went to Fat Club weigh-in. First week, lost 5.5 pounds. Hurrah! So I'm very excited about that. And then I've also got, because I thought I'll do a little bit of mixy matching, using up stuff that I've got some background papers from Alter Ego collection from Stamperia, because I do like some of these wood effects, and I quite like that, because I want to do something fairly forestry, because I'm using my rabbits. And then I've also got some Magic Forest that I'm using up as well, because I do like sort of this backgroundy as well. And some of the bigger pieces I won't use as their size, so what I'll do is cut them down. Oh, hi Sarah John, thank you for me well done's. But so something like this I wouldn't use in its full form like that, but I'll cut it down so I can just use a piece within my little project. So those papers, hi Catherine, so I've got those to use, and I've just got some brown card as well. You spent the day using your Alter Ego collection, that's so funny. That's really weird, Jill, that's really weird. Yeah, so let's see how we get on. I'm hoping it's not going to take 5 hours, I hope, because I've got so much to do for the retreat. But let's just crack on regardless, shall we? So what I'm actually going to do is draw around my A4 card, draw around these templates. So from set 7, it's the 1A, 1B, 1C. So 1A is the cover, 1B is your little box shape, and 1C creates the little strap, if you want to put a little strap to hold it all together. And then there's a little template in there which works to be your little, it's like a little loop that you can put on the front of your cover so that it just hooks underneath your strap. So it's sort of like, it goes like that or like that, you know, to hold, but you can position this wherever you want. It's just the template for it. So anyway, so that's the book that we're going to create. So it's a nice little gift box size, and just a little tip as well, if you make the spine a little bit wider and use these a little bit wider, so these are slightly narrower than the spine, if you just do them a little bit wider all the way around, so increase these by about 1/4 of an inch all the way round and increase this by 1/4 of an inch, you could perhaps fit some soap in it, you know, like little gift soaps. So that's just another idea as well to use for this. So you don't have to put a book in it, you don't have to use it as a frame, but if you just increase the spine and the sides of the box shape by 1/4 of an inch all the way around, it will be thick enough to fit one of those little soaps. The little, you can get like those little French soaps, can't you? Or if you've still got the old Body Shop soap, something like that that'll fit inside. So they make quite nice presents. Hi Trudy, hello, hello, hello. Okay, so let us get cracking. I have sharpened my pencil. Hi Tracy. And I've just got some nice thick brown card, chocolate brown card, which is from the paper mill shop that I have had quite a while. So I'm just tracing round this. Le soap, that's it David, yep. But I've got quite a few Body Shop soaps as well, because I used to be a consultant. And then let's just cut this out. So it's going to be like a little bit of a surprise box, this, because we're going to use the frame inside, the box shape inside, to house a little ensemblage, a little bit of a little bit of resin, a little bit of paper. Oh, and I also forgot, I am going to use as well some of my Arden collection, the cut aparts, for some of the florally bits. I know these are out of stock in lots of places, but if you did manage to get them, this is just an idea for what you can use with them. Okay, so let's get that scored and folded. So the box itself, the little shape, the cover and the box is really quite easy to put together if you can find your appropriate tools for scoring. There we go. So I'm just going to score down my lines, and this templates, if you've never seen them, they're now exclusive with That's Crafty. There's 8 different sets of full-size templates, and then I also have 3 sets of juniors and also 3 sets of box templates as well, book box templates, but all available from That's Crafty. And I also have my Journey Templates group as well, where we have lots of inspiration. Okay, so I'm just folding this up. So this is going to be my little cover shape. But what I'm going to do is actually stick 2 cards on top of each other. I don't want it really thick, but I want it a little bit thicker than this. I don't want to use grey board or anything. So what I'm going to do is just draw around this again and stick it together. So I've got 2 layers of my cardstock. There we go, and I'll just mark in the score lines. And then what I'll also do is just mark in this little loop strap template here, and these little score lines as well there and there. And then I also want to draw around this strap here. So all I'm doing first is just getting the basic shape of my book on my brown card, and then I'll probably go round my scrapbook paper to line the front of these shapes as well. Let's get me rubber there, because I just couldn't draw around it properly. There we go. I used to use this chocolate colour card for lots of my albums, and I also used a lot of buff coloured cardstock as well for my albums, but now I tend to use white or black, but I do like this chocolate colour. It's a very warm colour. So that's that. And that's the little loop that your little strap clicks underneath. And then I'll just stick these 2 together. So if you've got thicker cardstock, by all means just use 1 piece, but this is a little bit too waffy for my likings for this. So I'm going to stick 2 together, and I'm using my That's Crafty glue. It is like the chestnut brown paint, it is, and you know what I'm like for that chestnut brown paint, which I do probably need another refill, a second refill of that, because I've used so much of it. So a good smattering of white glue on that will dry clear. Just line that up, and it does just make it a little bit sturdier for me. And then I'll also be putting my scrapbook paper over the top of it. There we go. And then just where, because obviously it's going to push some of that inside piece further out, because there's only so much room within the spine for it to fold flat, I am just going to chop a little bit of the overflow off. think that's the appropriate word for it, is it? There we go. So that's my cover, and then I've got this little piece that will act as the little loop on the front cover, and then this is the little strap that goes around the book to fasten it in place. So now what I want to do is create the little box shape that sits either on the inside front or the inside back cover. It's entirely up to you where you position your little box. I'm going to put mine on the back cover. So that's not quite big enough, so let's get another piece of brown card. Oops. There we go. So again, just drawing around these, and if you haven't used my templates before, the little notches are just to indicate where you need to sort of score the card or cut it. So these long straight lines are your score lines, and then with this box template, the longer notches are where you actually cut into your card so that it all folds together properly. There we go, and I only need one of these, so I don't need a lid on it or anything. There we go. So let's cut all that out, and then we'll start decorating it. Okay, so where the big notches were, they're just to make that the little notches that we fold together for the sides of the box, so it just sits a bit more flush. And then everything else gets scored and folded to create almost like a little tray. There we go. Hi Francis. Hello Glynis. Hello lady. And then all I'm going to do is just fold those little flaps down and just apply a little bit of glue, and I always recommend using a wet tacky glue for sticking your box sides together, just because it's got a lot more grip and permanency than your double-sided tape. I just don't trust it to be a long-lasting adhesive. There we go, so a little bit of glue on all four of those tabs, and then stick those to the walls of your little tray. Oops. A bit oozy. So just stick, and that's why sometimes I get my sewing clips, but I don't know what I've done with them at the minute. I did find them, or a little paper clip, or a little, just like a little tag or whatever you've got that will hold, pegs, whatever you've got that will hold these together just while the glue sticks. But sewing's, I like the sewing clips because they're quite gentle. You don't make much of an impression on your card. Sometimes the clips, the bulldog clips that you have, they sometimes dig into your cardstock, so it doesn't take long to stick. So this is our little frame then that we're going to decorate and put our little bunnies in. There you go. Is this a choice box? What do you mean, is this a choice box? Don't understand, Glynis, what that means, lady. Okay, and because I'm going to be putting this over the top of that, I don't really need to decorate this. A chocky box? No, it's not. It's template set 7. Template set 7. And it's going to be a little bunny box. It's going to be a little bunny box, but we don't know what bunny yet that's going to go inside it. So it's up to you if you want to line that, but most of it is going to be covered anyway. And because I tend to leave a little border of card showing, which is like there, I'm not going to bother wasting card to go behind it. I'm not. You can't make me, and I'm not. Okay, so I want to start decorating this before I stick it inside. Hi Dawn, you alright, lovely? You excited for the weekend? And I'm going to use some of this Magic Forest. You could put chocolates in it. I also said about just increasing the size of the sides a little bit, so you could perhaps put a little bar of that Le French soap in it, or Le Soap. So I want a bit of a foresty background, so I think I'm going to go for this one here. I do like this, and I like this little section here. So what I'm going to do is get this box template again, and then just position it just over the top. And I know I've got a bit of a deer there, but he's fine. At least he's been involved. And I'm going to draw around this template again. So I'm putting in all the little score lines, all the little notches. Make sure everything's drawn around, and then I'll cut that piece out. That's a nice background as well. So this is a good way of using up some of your leftover bits of scrapbook paper, pieces that you know you might just have little bits left over. So this will do another piece as well, so I could use that as a background for another one of these little boxes. So let's move that to one side. And then what I'm going to do is just cut all my little notches. And then what I'm going to do is score it, but score it just inside the line that I've drawn around the template. So where my line is, I'm just coming about, it's not even 1/8 of an inch, it's probably like 1 millimetre, something like that, just to the inside of that score line, because I wanted this to sit flush inside the box. So hopefully this will do it. So it's probably about 1 millimetre just to the inside of that score line. I know Glynis has got a full weekend of doing bit of painting and decorating. If I'd have known, Glynis, because I'm away this weekend, you could have done ours. Our bedroom needs doing desperately. My dining room needs doing near my door. So I'll perhaps book you in for the week after, because you'll be in the midst of getting in the swing of it by then, won't you? So then it's just inside that little line that I've drawn. So when I fold it together, it should just drop in to the box shape, because I've just scored it slightly narrower. Yep. So I'm just going to fold my folds, make sure that I've cut my little notches to that new line. Oh. Set your sons, blooming neck. I hope they're paying you a good wage. I hope they're actually taking you on holiday. That'd be good, wouldn't it? So I'm just going to snip away some of the excess. But I've just made sure, I've just tried to cut that little side notch to where my new score line is. I'd just rather do it in one piece than piece it together. I just want it to go in one go. So hopefully now, if I shove it in and stuff it in, that will then fold together. So I'm going to fold my sides in, get all those folded in out of the way, fold that over, and then push those in. So now I should have a nice fitting little insert for this, and I've only had to do it on one sheet. So the tabs I'll stick behind, they'll go behind, fold those into the corners. So I'm going to score and fold them first before I stick anything down, and then there's only going to be a slight little overhang there that I can chop off. So just let's get that pushed behind there. You're paying for privilege. Oh, Glynis, you have to let them do it. Let them do it. Okay, so that now can be glued in place. I'm quite happy with that, and I've even got a sneaky little deer there at the side of it. Yep, so I've just done it in one piece, and I've just cut it just to my new little score line, which was about 1 millimetre or 2, just inside that initial line that I drew from the template. Just use your fingernail or a little embossing tool or something just to push it right in the corners, and that can now be stuck to the inside of my box. So now let's get that. Oh dear. I know, but look at him, he's just there, little peeking out there. In terms of scale, he is going to be quite small compared to the rabbit that's going to be sitting inside it. So you'll have to just pretend that he's in the distance. So I'm gluing the side itself rather than the paper. Hiya Jill, you alright? And then I'm just going to stick the little side of the tabs down as well. There we go. That bit there. That bit there. That bit there. And a little bit across the top and bottom. Is he small or is he far away? He is quite small, I think, but he could also be far away. But he's just hiding behind a bush. Hi Angela. It's fine, don't you worry about it. I'm just glad of the company. So just get it all stuck down. I mean, I think it's quicker than having to mess about measuring individual pieces for the side, just doing it in one go. It does depend on your perspective, doesn't it? Right, I think I'm happy with that. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to snip any little anomalies, any little bits that are just above my little line of my box. It's not a bad fit, to be honest. I'm not going to cut his nose off, so that's okay, to spite his face, Glynis. I'm not going to do that. Okay, chop that off, chop that off. There we go, there we go. Okay. Exactly, Sarah. Right, let's just get that glued down there. Come on. Get in the box. You get in the box. Okay, so that's my little box there that is going to have my little assemblage in it. So I want to just ink around the top of it. So let's get me browning. Oh gosh, Jenga Tower might happen. Let's see where we're up to with this. Oops, don't look at that a second. Just look away, nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Don't even look. I knew tidying up today was a bad thing. Right, so let's shift them out the way. I've been stuffing lavender cats as well, that's why I've got blooming wadding and stuff. Okay, so let's just ink around, and I'm using my Fallen Leaves Versifying Clair for this. So just to hide any white bits on there. Oh. Okay. So that is now my little box, and I don't want to cover the sides of that. I'm okay with them being brown, that's fine, because I've inked the top of them. I'm okay. So what I want to do now is just start building up my little ensemblage inside it. I've got a docking great big mushroom that's going to probably sit in there, and then I'm thinking, because I'm thinking he'd be alright actually. So he's going to sit inside it as well, and I'm going to use a little bit of the ferns and stuff from the hidden Arden Studios one, Hidden Creek, I couldn't remember the second word then, Hidden Creek collection, just to build it up. So it is now time to paint our little resin pieces, and I'll try and be quick with this. Let's get a bit of scrap paper. There we go, there we go. I've got some, that's, oh dear, shift me glues. I've got Jenga piles everywhere at the minute, and we don't want piles, do we? Because we know what that means. Okay, so I've got my That's Crafty multi-purpose paints. I've got white gesso, normal white, chocolate brown of course. I have also got some, where's my grey? Oh, that Hidden Creek is lovely. Unfortunately, a lot of it's sold out, and they're taking a while to do a rerun, a reprint of it. So quite a lot of the papers are out. I think Laura's still got some 12 by 12 left on her website. I also want some red for my mushroom. And I think that might be okay for now. I think. Or inky dinky think. Oh, and sometimes, you know when you get all your paint stuck around the side of that and your lid won't come off, if you gently heat the side with a heat gun, very gently, it'll help melt it so you can open it back. Top tip, because I needed it to do it myself because my lid wouldn't open the other day when I was painting. So I'm just going to white gesso this just to add a little base coat for my paint to stick nicely. So let's get little bunnies done. So I'm using the big one and the mushroom for the inside little box, but then I've also got this little tidger here that I might use for the outside of the box, with this little set of mushrooms for the outside of the box. So let's get those painted as well, just to be prepared. I like these little bunnies, I do, I think they're gorgeous. I've used Mrs. Please and Thank You. I've used the amazing casting resin, which is available from That's Crafty. It's a 1 part A, 1 part B, and you do it by volume rather than weight. So you just have 2 little mixing jugs, pour the same amount and then mix them together, and they don't take very long to set. About, well, it depends how hot your mould is, about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to demould, but the more you do, the more your mould warms up, so it takes less time for it to set. But I absolutely love it. It's like in a little box. Let's just get it out for you, which it dries white and it looks like that. So there's 8 ounces or 237 mils of each A and B part. It also includes 3 cups and 2 sticks to stir it, but this is white, so it's about a 10-minute demould. Yes, because as I told you, we've got a retreat at the weekends. Very exciting. It is very exciting. So let's just dry that off quickly. But what I like about this little mould, it's like a bestsellers one from Stamperia. There's absolutely tons of elements on this, but really little ones as well. So you don't really need to mix a lot of resin to actually get these demoulded. You know, especially these little bunnies. There's some cute little flowers, cute little butterflies and bits and pieces around it. Yeah, I like this mould a lot. And if you do hold your heat gun down for a while on it, sometimes when you cast your resin it's just a little bit beveled. If you allow your heat gun just to sit on it a bit longer, it will melt it a little bit, so you can flatten it down. It does make a difference when you're sort of trying to layer things on and you haven't got things too beveled. And always try and dry your resin on flat surfaces as well, unless you actually wanted it with a little bit of a bend to it. You can gently heat it and then sort of wrap it round something till it resets. But you just need to be careful with these things. Paint already on me. Okay, let's get a little dirty palette. I know, but I can peel the paint off them. That's the best thing about a dirty palette, is peeling that gorgeous paint off. Lovely. Right, so I'm going to mix a little bit of the brown. So I'm going to do a base coat of brown in my little bunny, and then I'm also going to use a little bit of dry brushing with grey, because I want him to have a little natural look to him. So I'm using chocolate brown, or chestnut brown, from That's Crafty, and I have so little left in that pot. So let's just decant a little bit of the brown, because I'll also use that for the mushroom. So all I want to do is just a little bit of dry brushing of this, not dry brushing, sorry, just big fat brushing, not dry brushing anything, just with this brown. I know, it's like that with the resin. When the resin's dry in the little plastic pots, pulling that resin out is just lovely. So I'm giving him a full coat of this chocolate brown, chestnut brown, whatever brown you want to call it. Just making sure I've got every area of his, whatever's visible to the eye. He's toned down a little bit because I haven't let the white dry properly. So it's more like a creamy brown than the proper chocolate brown, because I'm impatient. You like peeling it off? I know, it's lovely, isn't it? It's like wax when you spill wax on you accidentally. Okay, so let's just see, he looks quite nice as he is there. And then let's get a bit of this underneath my little mushroom, down in these little stalks. Or what are they called, Glynis? You told us, didn't you, what the base of the mushroom's called, because you are a mushroom expert. And then let's get these little hairy things. These are brilliant, these tiny mushrooms, because they've got such texture on them. They're proper hairy. So I've not used loads of brown. Don't want to waste it too much. So let's give them a quick dry with the heat gun first. Let's put a bit of red on them as well. And I've not cleaned my brush because I'm okay with having that little bit of brown on it. So that'll do as the first coat. And I'll give that a quick dry. I'm not sure what colour to do the top. Shall I do it cream? Maybe. I should do it that apricot colour. I quite like that colour as well for me mushrooms. Let's just get the apricot. Do-do-do. Well, I would get it if I could find it. There it is. Another one of my go-to paint colours. There we go. So a little bit of the apricot with that, and then I'll give it a blast, and I'm going to put another little coat on. Oh yeah, I like that. Yep, I'm okay with that. I will have to read up on my fungi. There's so many different types of fungi, isn't there, out there? Just put a little bit of that on there. So, you know, do mix and match your paint colours as well. You don't want it just one solid colour because that isn't natural in the world. You want a little bit of highlight, a bit of low light. Right, that'll do for now, and then I'm going to heat them up, give them a dry, and then we'll start adding a little bit of extra colour just to make them a little bit more natural. So let me just bring that down a little bit, and then you can perhaps see a little bit better. Make sure I've got the camera in the right area. You are the only fungi in the room at the minute, David. It looks like it, pal. Yeah, we need to encourage more fellas to these lives, don't we? We sometimes have husbands sat in the background making little comments in the background. Right, that's fairly dry, so I'm just going to add another tiny little bit of that chestnut brown on my bunnies first. There we go. So some of the resin that you use, you do have to give it a good prime with some gesso first, just for that paint to properly adhere. And then what I'm going to do is just wipe off the excess. So for this one I'm just going to do a little bit of dry brushing now. I've got like a flat brush so I can get quite sharp details with this. So just on the chisel edge of that brush I can just pick up little areas that are in the shadow, just with that darker brown, and just underneath that. So it just adds a little bit more of a natural element to it. And then just any excess, wipe that off my brush and just smooth that colour out, just so it blends with that initial sort of almost a fawny colour that I've used. So it's not a harsh line, it's more of a natural shadow, but I've not used black. I've just used the brown, which tones in with the rest of the colours that are on that little mushroom, so it just looks more natural than putting just pure black in it. I tend not to do a lot of black for my shadows. I tend to use the colour schemes and the colourways that I've already used. So I'll just do the same under this little mushroom area there. So again, on the chiselled edge of this flat brush, I can perhaps guide it a little bit easier than with a round brush, and just drag some of that paint down into those crevices to indicate a little bit of shadow. And because the detail on these moulds now that we get are so well defined, it just means that you get beautiful natural looking objects from your resin. And then again, wipe the excess off and just dry brush over those little dints and little crevices that are in the mould itself, and it just picks up the detail just with that dry brush. So that's the base of that one done, and all I want to do now is just add a little bit more red to the top of it. But if you see what I mean, I've not used black to add shadow, but it really creates some depth now to that piece. So let's get some more of the red just to pop over the top of that. There we go, that's better. Nice thick beautiful red, like that. Give them a dry, and then the final bit is I'm going to add a little bit of dry brushing over my little bunnies just to pick up all those details on them, and then add the little details on my mushrooms, and all in all it'll come together quite nicely. What time are we on? 10 to 8. We're alright for time, aren't we? No rush. I don't have to go to bed, it's fine. Okay, so with the grey now, let's just wipe my brush. I know what a little brush for this. I'll use that one again. Right, let's get that right dry, because I want some nice dry brushing on this little bunny. And then what I'm going to use is the grey. So I'm just going to get a little bit on my brush and knock quite a bit of it off. And then just very carefully just start dry brushing over my little bunny. Over his little face. So I'm really trying to be careful not to add too much grey onto my brush, because all I want to do is just highlight his little fur elements that are on from the mould. So I'll just put him in my hands to see if you can see him. So just very gently dry brush. If you've got too much paint on, just try and knock it off as much as you can. But because I've only used a little bit of paint, it just means that the brown is still visible underneath, but he has got a nice little coat over the top of him. And the same with this little beauty here. So again, dry brushing first, picking up all those little details. Knock it back if you've put too much on. But because I'm just lightly going over the surface, all those little crevices there are still quite dark because I've got that brown underneath. Like that. So you can see that little one. And that one now. So I'm just going to make sure there's no other little colours that are poking through. Just to, that's it, cover him up. And the thing with dry brushing is you can keep going over 2 or 3 times to add a little bit extra lightness in places. You don't have to go over all of it again. It just layers it up with that dry brushing. I'm really quite happy with that little bunny. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of this apricot paint. So let's get a little brush. Get that nice and clean. And then a tiny bit of apricot. Again, knocking the excess off. And I just want to paint in his little ears. A little bit of that apricot. And the same with that one. There we go. Any little excess, just wipe that off. Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. I'm going to pick a bit of that apricot up through the top fur as well. So I'm just using whatever's left on my brush now, just to rub over the top of it. So I don't want to use white, but I am going to use these paler colours like the grey and the apricot, and it just highlights those areas on the surface but keeps all the crevices nice and dark. And if you want to go a little bit further back into the crevices now, I can do that again with my chestnut brown. So again, I'm not using black because the bunny isn't black, he's got grey and brown tones to him. So I'm not going to use black in those little crevices. And I can't put my lid back on my grey. Oh, come on, shape yourself. Come on, right. Oh, talk about childproof lid. It's like there's a genie trap trying to get out. There we go. Gosh, that was hard work. That was quite stressful then. Nobody's helping. Right, so let's knock the excess off. I'm just going to go right in those little shadowy bits under his chin, just in that little fold between his ears, just inside his little ear. There we go. So it just picks out that shadow. Same with this little boy. So he's got little brown under his chin, little bit in his ear creases, a little bit down his little leg creases, and it just looks more natural than using a black. There we go, right down in his little toes and everything. He's a beautiful Barney. There we go. So the only bit of black I am going to use now is my little black permanent marker for me to do his eyes. And if you can hear snoring, that's Waffle Wheeler being a right snory boy. Okay, so I'm going to have to take my glasses off for this, I think. Bear with me so I can see what I'm doing. Right, so I'm just using my black permanent marker just to add black to his eyes. If you've got a very small paintbrush, you could also do that, but I just find it easier with a little marker pen. I'm just doing the same with this one. I'm just lifting it up because I can't see with my glasses on. So I'm just going to add a little bit of black to his little eyes. So you've really got to make sure that paint's dry before you do this, or it'll ruin your pens. There we go. And then what I'm going to do with his little whiskers, thanks pal, thanks Steve. Oh, I don't want a drink now, I'm alright, thanks lovely. I'm going to use a white Posca pen, because I can't, oh have I got my white, my other white, there we go, my other white acrylic pen, very carefully to go over his little whiskers. So let me just prime my pen, just to add a little bit of white, or you could just use a little bit of white paint, but all I want to do is just add a little bit of white over his whiskers. I don't like these pump action pens. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my paint, but I'm going to put it on my finger. I think that's probably run out anyway. Right, let's get my white paint. Put a little bit on my fingertip there, knock the excess off, so I'm literally just dabbing it over that highlighted area of his whiskers, just like that, not like that, just like that. There we go, and blend that in. So he's got little white whiskers, he's got little white whiskers. Worst bunnies, I love a bunny. There we go, and he's got little black eyes as well. So there our little bunnies done. The only thing I want left to do on my little mushroom is do my little dots. So I've just got my my embossing tool there. I'm just going to dab it in the paint. Just add some little dots of white. I don't even think it's that type of mushroom, but I'm going to make it that type of mushroom because I like a red and white mushroom. There we go. So adding it with an embossing tool, something like this, you can add different size little dots on it as well. They're not all uniform. There we go. Right, so that's that bit of painting done. Very nice, very nice. Oh, come on, get that lid on now. That paint can go away out the way. And then let's get the box decorated. Okay, so our little elements are done there. That can go away. That red and white can go away. There we go. So just put these to one side. They're my little resin pieces completed. Shift that out of the way. Okay, so let's get our cover, and hopefully I won't get paint all over it. So what I want to do is add a little bit of paper on the inside of this. And what I'm going to use is the other part of the paper that I used for the inside of the box. So let's try and find that, which is that piece there. So all I'm going to do is just draw around. What bit do I want? This bit at the bottom is nice. So I'm just going to reposition my template back over. And I'm just going to draw one side and the spine. And then cut this out so it's slightly below and to the side of the spine, just so I give myself a little brown border. So let's just cut just inside those lines, and I'll cut a little bit off the top and the bottom as well, just so that I know they're going to be slightly smaller than the actual cover itself. You can measure it with a ruler, but I'm just doing it by eye today. Same with this one, a little bit off the top and the bottom, so it's slightly narrower and shorter. So that will go just on the inside. So you see I've got a slight little brown margin around it, and the same for the spine. And then when I put that in, it sort of all moulds together as though it's like a single piece. I mean, I could have done it the other way so that that was there and that was there, but I've chose what I've chosen, so I'm happy with that. And then I'm just going to ink around the edge of this so it all blends in. And then I can glue those in place. I would if I could find my glue. Oh, blimey, Glynis, what a shame. Right, where's my glue? Glue, Barley McGrew, there it is. Right, I'm just going to shift this pot of water because I don't trust the animals. I think I'm going to start doing some lives from my YouTube channel as well. Now I've got over 100 subscribers, I can do that. So I will do that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sort of schedule out. Once the retreat's over, I might have another half an hour to spare in my life. Somehow, somewhere. There we go. So let's just stick that in. My trees are the right way up. Lovely jubbly. My glue's a bit gluey. Okay, and then that will sit in there, and the idea is that will fold over the top. So let's get this little piece in action. So I need my heavy body gel. That's my phone ring anyway, that Hugh Barley McGrew. I don't want that. That's decoupage varnish. Oh, David, it's a belter. It's a it's a sort of a full Saturday and then a Friday evening and a Sunday day. So it starts tea time on Friday, and we do like a little warm-up type of activity the Friday night. So it's like a techniques night the Friday night. So this time we're going to do some gel plate, maybe a little bit of felting, a little bit of resining with some resin. So a little bit of a mix and match on the Friday evening. And then the Sunday, Jill is doing the full day. She does her mixed media project. Oh, craps. Everybody gel. So she does her mixed media project on the Saturday this time, and I do a book project, journal project on the Sunday. It's full board. It's at Thornton Cleveley's at Sarah John Allen's B&B. And it's a really good weekend. There's loads of fun. We have games. It's just a really nice, relaxing weekend, but with loads of techniques thrown in. And we're doing 4 this year. So this first one this year is this weekend. Then we've got one set for June, 1 September and 1 November, I think. But I'm going to start putting the dates out of all the other 3 that we've got left, because places do fill up. We do have regulars that come on every one, and then some that come alternate ones and that. So it is very limited, the space that we have, but it's brilliant. It is a really lovely retreat. And then we sort of mix and match, Jill and I. So, you know, one time she might do the book and I'll do the mixed media piece. So we sort of mix and match, and we just try and make sure that everybody sort of really gets to grips with all the different techniques that are out there, to be honest. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just start layering up my little elements. So my little mushroom's going to go in the back. So let's get some heavy body gel on this. And I have ordered some new gel for the retreat, don't you worry, because we go through this like there's no tomorrow, don't we? So I'm going to put this down first. And I give it a little bit of a, like that, little bit of a splishy splashy, tippy tappy, just to create some texture on that gel medium, just so that it sticks a bit better to the surface. Oh, hi Michael, we've got the second boy watching the live. Very good. I'm sorry for the shine with that white when I was doing that tippy tappy. And then the same with my little bunny. But with my bunny, because I want him on the top, so he needs to be on the top, but he doesn't need to be above the height of this frame, or else my book won't shut. So his ears are going to rest on that mushroom, but his bottom half is not going to rest on it. So I need to raise his bottom half slightly so it comes to the same level as the mushroom. And how I do that is with a little bit of spare grey board, which I don't know where I have got some. You alright, Kit P? All the boys are in now. Trouble is looming. Right, let's get a piece of grey board. So just odd little bits of grey board that you might have, or a little bit of MDF from some of the kits that you've had, and you've just got like the leftover outside pieces. So I just need a couple of pieces that will just raise the bottom of my bunny off the surface of my background first. So let's just shove that down. Shove that down. Oh, I've got 3 of them, Michael. They're blooming. They're nuisances, but they're my babies, so they're allowed. Wouldn't have it any other way. There we go. And then a nice dollop of resin to go on the top of that. We do like a padded bottom. However, Glynis, I don't know whether you were there when I said I lost 5.5 pounds tonight, first week of Fat Club. So I might not have a padded bottom for very long. So that'll just... So that just sits on top of that grey board. And what it does, it just elevates it off the base, but it's not too high. Oh, look at him, he's a beauty. He's a beauty. There we go. So I've got a little bit of my little resin elements in there. Okay, let's just clean that off for now. But then what I want to do is add a few little bits of greenery. Get off me, glue's trying to attack me there. A little bit of greenery. So what I've also got, sneakily, is some of my That's Crafty fine texture paste, which is another one of my favourites. And I'm going to add this on with a little... I had a little stick somewhere. Yeah, let's use my resin stick. So this is it says fine, but it's actually gritty, and it adds beautiful texture. So it's sort of like I'm going to do it like a moss effect. So I'm going to dry it off and paint it with a little bit of my green paint. So it's a nice smooth application with a lolly stick or a palette knife, whatever you've got, but there's a little grit to it. So it's almost like a sand paste or a snow paste, but it can add a nice little bit of mossy texture to your project. And obviously it'll add nice snow effects as well. But it is quite a thick, gloopy, textured element. So you can train it a little bit to trail up for like a grass effect. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a dry. It doesn't take long to dry, especially the surface, so that you can add paint to it. But I'll still be able to stick little bits and pieces into it. All right, sweetheart, Sarah John. I'll see you tomorrow anyway, lady. We'll see you tomorrow. About 12:30. Right, so let's give that a dry. So it doesn't take long just to dry the surface. Just enough to add paint to it, but don't be shoving your fingers in, Glynis, because if it's not quite dry you'll ruin it. Just saying, don't be sticking fingers. Okay, right, let's get my green paint. I have got a new green paint because my other green paint ran out, but where my green paint is, there it is, right at the bottom. So oh no, that's metallic green. I might use a bit of that with it as well. But I have got a new green somewhere. There it is. Which is the evergreen green. So it's a little bit darker than the green that comes in the smaller set of multi-surface paint. So Laura does have a set, if you are just starting out, of 12 different colours, which are a really good starter set. Let me just get that bit of gel out of there because that's driving me mad. There we go. Hello, bunny. See, I thought I'd finished with my paint, and obviously I haven't. Okay, right. Let's get my paintbrush. I'm going to use my stubby paintbrush for this because of that textured surface. So if you've got one that's a little bit more gungy and messy, certainly use that for this texture paste, because you don't really want to flatten that texture out. So I'm just being very careful just to add a little bit of the green paint. I'm just slightly dibby-dabbing. Slightly dibby-dabbing. There we go, just like that. Just like that. So that's a bit of my green. And then what I'm going to do with a smaller paintbrush is actually use a little bit of blue just to blend in with that green. So I'm going to use my turquoise blue, or this is the ocean one. So it has got a bit of a greeny tint to it. So if anyone's done my colour theory workshop, you'll know what I mean when you've got your colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel that will work well together. So a tiny bit of that, and it will just add a little bit of shadow in with that that lighter green. So I'm just coming in with a little bit of the turquoisey blue, and what that does, it helps link in to the blue in the background of the papers as well. So I'm trying to do it. Let's get a palette actually so I can mix the two together, because I don't really want to contaminate these because that green's new. So I'm just going to scoop a bit of green up. That's it. And scoop a bit of the blue up, and then they're not being overly contaminated. There we go. And if I've mixed the blue and the green together, so I've got a little bit of the blue and the green together, it will make a nice darker green, which adds to that shadow effect. So I've got three different sort of shades of green going on there. I've got the darker green from the mixture of the turquoise or the ocean and the evergreen. I've got the pure evergreen, and then I've also got the pure ocean. So that's what you can do to help create a little bit of shadow as well in your piece. Again, rather than adding black to it. There we go. So it just looks more natural like that. I like it a lot. But I do like that turquoise blue. There we go. Get that shoved in there. Okay, so I'm going to dry that off. There we go. Shift them, shift that. Give that a dry. Oh, that's a shame, Michael. Sometimes you have to come out to come back in again. And then I'm going to get these Hidden Creek cut apart elements from here, just to add a little more detail. And I like these because they're just they're double-sided, but they're also die cut, so you haven't really got any white space. So we only want like little small ferny type things. And don't be worried about cutting them or splitting them into different little sections so that you can layer them up. So I've just pushed a few of those out, but like I say, they're double-sided. But all of these little grassy bits are brilliant for just adding to the background of your pieces like this, but separating them out so you get more for your money, like that. Oh, I just love them. I just love them. I love them. I love them. I might actually put a little butterfly on the top because I do like a little butterfly. I think I'm going to do that little one. I don't want loads. I just want a few little ones. So even that one, I'm just going to add some of these little leaves at the top. I don't want tons, just a few. That'll probably do actually. And then I'm going to ink around the edges with my brown. Again, just to make sure that there isn't any white elements, and it also adds a little bit of light and shade to the pieces so they do look more natural. A little bit around my little butterfly, and then all I'm going to do is just add a little bit of glue to these pieces now to stick them in. So you don't need much because there isn't much to glue. They're only very fine little detailed cutouts, these die cut areas. So these will then sort of slot around underneath like that, and I'm just going to randomly stick them down, randomly stick just one part of it so that they're 3D. The first one I've sort of stuck to the background, so at least it's stuck down, but the others, I'm just going to stick those little bits there so that when I stick them down there's only one little area sticking out, and that's all I'm doing is just laying up these little ferny jobbers. One can go behind his little head, just down there in the background. As long as he's stuck down, that's... Let's get behind your ear there. There we go. Come on, get stuck down. Get down. Get down. Right, that's better. I'm going to get a paintbrush and wipe that blooming gel up there from behind his ear hole. There we go. Oh, why don't you wipe your brush, you fool? Look at the state of that now. I've got blue on that. Never mind, at least it's hidden that gel. Let's just get that spread out. Oh, you dirty madam, honestly. Right, okay, that's blended that in. That's fine. Look at the state of my hands now as well. So, just add in little bits of glue. You could use gel medium as well to stick these elements down, but all I want to do is just stick them together. Just in and around my little rabbit. And you know, obviously it's going to be inside a little box, so there's not going to be a lot of being out to the elements, this. And then my little butterfly, I'm going to layer him up with a little bit of grey board underneath him so that he's off the surface of the background, and then I can stick him on with a little bit of glue. Right, so let's get you stuck behind there. It's going to be facing in, so let's stick it that way. There we go. So I need 2 layers of this, so he is sort of fairly up above the surface, as though he's hovering on the mushroom top. There we go. Just trim him off a little bit there. That's it. So that is just a little bit raised off the surface then. I might just put another layer on top of him. Obviously I could have used gel medium on this, but I didn't want it to sort of collapse. I wanted it quite high, and then a little bit of glue there to add my little butterfly. Let's pick you up. Oh, my fingers are filthy. There we go. So he's just sat there now. So he's sat on the mushroom. There we go. That looks pretty sweet. So I'm done with him. I'm done with my rabbit. I've got a little leaf there. Let's shove that somewhere in a nice way. Shove you down there. So that's still a little bit pliable, that my little fine texture paste, so I can shove the little leaves and fronds in there. But that, I quite like that. That looks quite nice. So that's our little box. So that can now sit on our cover, just like that, and then that will fold over the top. Yep. But what I'm going to do first is just glue it down. So let's get some nice layer of glue underneath this. Down across. So that will give it a nice hold. Make sure that the lid fastens across properly. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is start then cutting out the papers for the front and back covers. So let's just let that sit. And I'm going to put something heavy on the top just to let that glue settle. So I've got a pile of papers there. I'm just going to move it over to one side, and I'm just going to rest that on the top just to let that settle. So let's get my papers this side, move that side, and then we can work on the front cover. There we go. Right, so I've just folded the box over like that, and I'm just going to put something heavy on the top of it. So a book or something like that, a nice big pile. Okay, so they can go back in for now, I think. But I might use some on the front cover as well. So let's get those out of the way. I need the front cover decorated, so I need that again. Paintbrush back in there. So this time, see, I did want to use some of these Alter Ego as well. See, I quite like that one as a front cover. I think that's quite nice as well. Maybe I'm going to use... See, I do like that one. I'm torn. Right, just bear with. What time are we on? Oh, 8:30. Are we alright for a little bit longer, guys? Please let me know in the comments, unless you are all asleep, which is fine. I have been rather long. Let's have a look. Quite like that with the waterfall, actually. Yeah, right, so I'm going to use that at the front. I'll use that at the front. Let's see what I've got left. I might use that at the back. Right, so I'm not using that at all. Alter Ego, you were there, but then you weren't there, so hard luck. They can go back. I don't even know what collection that must be off. Same collection, is it? They all mix and match anyway, I'm not bothered. Okay, right, so that's going to be my front cover. That little bit there. So let's draw around that. Oh, thanks, Sue, for the vote of confidence. You're so funny. At least I'm better than a game of chess. Thanks, lovely lady. Right, so again, I'm just going to cut slightly to the inside of midline to create my mat. So let's see what that measures up against. I'll probably trim a little bit more off. Let's get my paper trimmer for this bit. Right, just make sure my cutting's straight. It is a lovely stag, but I'm not using him. He can be put on one of my bigger books, actually. There we go. So that's the front. And then what I'm going to do is draw around that for the back. He is a lovely stag. That'll go lovely on one of the other books. Okay, so this is going to be the back cover. So let's draw around this bit. And then get the template back, line it up for the spine, so that when I cut this out it's going to be the same height. So I'm just cutting inside the score line again, and then just cut these the same height, just inside the score line. Cut that down and cut that across the top, and then cut that so that it matches the bottom. So that goes there, That goes there. Okay, so I've got my front and my back covers. I've also got this little strap thing here. That little thing that we'll need. I want something that will go over that. So I think I'll cover it with that. So let's get some glue. Glue that over the top of that. Give it a little bit of a curl with my fingers as well. So I want it fairly flexible, this thing, because it's got to wrap around my box. So if I just run it through my fingers, it just stretches the fibres of that paper. And then I'm also going to glue some more to it as well. I like that a lot. I should have put that on the front really. We'll see, we'll see. So I really don't want to waste this paper. I'm just using every little bit I can. There's 2 more collections coming out as well, isn't there, soon? Of Stamperia. There's so many different things all the time. You really can't keep up, can you? Oh, right, let's get that. Okay. Right, so that's that bit. I don't know what I've done with the other bit, but I might have to cut that out again. I had another little strip, but that's gone away. That's gone away somewhere. Oh, is it there? Oh, it's there. There it is, it's there. Okay, let's ink around the outsides of these. There's the spine. Okay. And I'm actually bending it the other way because I like that bit like that. So let me just get my bone folder and give that a right good stick down because I've used the glue on it. There we go. I've folded it in the other direction now because I like that better. Now let's ink round that. I mean, if you've got things like your faux leather or craft tex, something like that's brilliant for doing these little straps as well. But that, I mean, that's fairly flexible. I've got a nice big crease in that, but it's going to be going around the box anyway. There are my bits, there's that, and I've still got these 2 elements to think about the front. Right, so hopefully that's now glued down in place. Let's shift all this bit out of the way. Let's shift them out of the way. Okay, so that is my little box. That's stuck down. I think that's pretty sweet. So now what I want to do is add my front cover and my spine piece to that. So I will do that now. And if you use like more pastel-y papers, spring-like papers, even those, the Dewdrops paper collection, you know, some of the summery ones, this is quite a sort of a dark foresty theme, but lighter ones will work just as well. Oh, thanks, Connie. I always excess glue it and then I get cross because it's marked me blooming background, but never mind. I'll ink around the edge of that in a bit. So I'll get that stuck down. So that's my front cover. Shove my back cover on. If I wipe it first, it's not going to ooze out the sides as much. I'll do this a bit quick because I don't want to impede me. Is that the right way up? I think it's the right way up. Yep, nothing's fell off. Then that'll stick down the side there. Oh, thank you, Kim. So if I did it again with lighter colours, it'd look completely different again, obviously, because I'm using different colours. But you could just sort of match it to the person that you're giving it to. You know, if you've got somebody into nice gothy things. There we go. I didn't know anyone was giving me angry emojis. Sometimes it's just a slip of the hand. There we go. So that's that. And then what I've got here is this little strap bit that goes around to fasten that together. And I'm okay with that being stuck on the outside because I really like that. If you didn't like the background paper, shove it underneath first before you stick this back piece on. Yep, so shove that on first. So what I'm going to do is just position that where I want it, and I want quite a lot of it over the top so that it'll fasten. And then I'm just going to get a pencil and just mark where my glue needs to go. So I've got my little pencil mark there, so that little square there is where I need to glue. So what I'm going to do is get some double-sided tape first because I want that to be really stuck. So this will give a quick grab. So in that little square, I'm just going to add a little bit of tape for a quick grab and then use my multi-purpose glue to give it a permanent bond. So let's get the glue. But when you're doing this bit, you just need to make sure all your little elements inside your little box are dry enough that they're not going to fly anywhere. And then stick that down like that. Another way of doing it, you could add some brads to it, or you know, and then fasten it to the inside before you stick the box on. So there's all different ways of doing that. So that'll loop over there. So you just need to make sure that that's nice and fastened and glued on. Give it a little bit of a bend. So that's why you need that flexibility, so that it'll wrap around your box like that. So even giving it a bit of a crease to make sure that it won't move. So I'm going to bend that now. So that's nice and stuck down. Yep. And then I'm going to bend it there. So it's got a little bit of give to tuck underneath the little strap there. So I'm going to cover this now, and there's like two little lines that were on the template on the cover. So that's the little band that you cut out, and then there's two little lines either side of the words there, the letters and numbers. They're for your little crease marks, because you need it to be stuck onto this. So you fold those up where your little crease marks are, and then give that little bit of a curl in your fingers, because it sits like that, like a little band, so that you've got something stuck on the front cover, but then your little loop for your little fastener to hook underneath. So again, I'm going to cover this with some paper. So that's why it's important to do your little creases first, and then it'll move once you've put your background paper on. And I've still got enough of this little piece that I had left from that cover to put on, so let's glue that in place. Oh no, Philippa Winter McCartney. I know, I forgot to put the live on till later this afternoon. Sorry, lovely lady. And it is a long one to watch back as well, so it is going to be quite a big one to put on YouTube, because we're coming up to 2 hours. I thought, yeah, an hour, that'll do. No chance with me, is there? No chance. It's only because I had lots of painting to do as well. I could have prepped, but what's the point of prepping? If you want to see a project, get it seen. There we go. So they fold forward, those little tabs, and the little tubby thing folds over. Tubby thing, the little loopy thing, the little band. And then let's ink the edges of that as well. And then again, these need to stick down really nicely. So I'm going to put another little bit of tape just for that quick grab, and then some of my wet glue. But you do need to make sure it's nice and stuck down before you start messing with it. Let's get the background off that. The back off that. Oh, my fingers are filthy. It means I'm going to have a shower, and it's not Sunday. Oh, come on, get the backing off this. Oh, it's because my fingers are filthy. Dirty girl. Let's use some scissors instead. There we go. Right, and then give it a good press down. And use my bulky tool, and hopefully that'll do the trick. There we go. That's the trick. And then let's glue it. Glue that down. Come on. Oh, my glue's running out. I just need these in like 3-pint bottles, these glues, because I use so much of it. Only 4 more sleeps, Philippa Winter McCartney. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. I'm very excited. I'm seeing our Sarah John tomorrow, so I'm going to plan what activities we can come up with. Okay, right, so that's going to get stuck. That's going to get stuck. So let's get that stuck. Stick down, stick down. So give it just a little moment because it has to hold your strap in place. So don't be messing with it for now, just let it be. And then we've got our little, what I might do is do that there. Let's put my little bunny down there maybe. On my mushrooms, I think my mushrooms there. Okay, so heavy body gel again. Everybody gel. Everybody gel. Let's get you stuck down. So a nice big blob. Give it a little pat of cake just to give it some texture, to get it to grip to the surface underneath. Just like that. Let's wipe any excess off. Come on, don't want it right oozing out there. So stick that down there. And then certainly adding like a piece of resin on the base of this bit will help keep that stuck down as well. Oh, that's very oozy. Oh, the two boys have sat on top of each other, bless them. I don't know where Kitty is. I think, oh, they're all in, are they? Oh, all the boys are in. Right, let's just get the excess off that with my paintbrush. Because I've got glossy, if it won't dry matte this. So a top tip as well, if you've only got glossy heavy body gel and it gets too shiny, you can always use a matte varnish once it's dry and it'll just take that shine off it. It'll also help coat your paper as well with a matte varnish over the top. So that'll stick and it'll just help weight that lid as well. Yep, so that's stuck there, that's stuck there. And then what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more of that texture paste, the fine texture paste at the bottom, just so it links in with the texture paste inside, and it'll also help ground that rabbit so he's not just sat there in midair. So let's I'm just scraping it off along the bottom like that, just so it grounds those elements. A bit underneath the mushroom, so I'm not using a lot, but it just means that I've got something to push those shapes into, and I just think it finishes it off as well. Right, so I'm going to dry that off and give those a bit of a paint, and I think then we might be done. Blimey, Riley. Maybe. It doesn't take that long to dry that. Let's get my paints out again. Some of those are still a bit wet, so I'll use those. Get my stubby brush. So let's get that. See, it's still a bit wet, but it's fine, it'll dry soon. Let's get all that paint on there. Dibby dabby dibby dabby. And then obviously any little extras from that Arden creative stuff. The hidden creek can go in the background, but if you see what I mean, just adding that little bit of texture at the bottom, it just brings it together. And then let's go in with a smaller paintbrush with that turquoisey, just in all the little crevices. Bit of dibbery-dobbery. There we go. I've just pushed the brush up a little bit up the mushrooms just so it looks like there's a little bit of foliage going up there. There we go. Push that in. And I think we are done. So let's just shift that. Move that light, and then let's get a piece of black paper. So there we are, my lovelies. Let's just move that camera down a little bit more. Hopefully you can see that okay. But that's tonight's very lengthy project. I apologise for it to be that long. I didn't intend it for it to be that long. Let me just shift that light off it. Let's just see if that helps with that harsh light on it, just because it's that's better, I think. Not really. I don't know, one of my lights is a bit too bright. Let's shift that one, see if that helps. But there we go, that's our little box. So what I'll do, I'll find something that will go over the top, just a little message or something. But there we go, that's our little box. So I'll take lots of photographs of it. I'll just tip it up, and then that just opens up, unhooks, opens up, and then we've got a lovely little framed rabbit inside. So you can put a little greeting on the inside as well. So I think on the outside I was going to put some bunny loves you, and then open it up and there's a little bunny inside it. But there we go, I've enjoyed that. So I'm going to let that dry. I'll probably take a little reel or something with some bunny themed music to it, because I always like that. And then what I'll do, I'll edge around this with some of my matte decoupage varnish, this one, because if you overspill a bit with the glue, it'll just knock that shine back off it. But there we go, that's tonight's live. So thank you so much. I'll just have to shout Steve or throw a wet rag at him, he's listening to a podcast. So thanks everybody, thanks Dina, thank you everybody, thank you Sue, thank you Kim, thank you everybody. So for some of you, I will see you on Fridays, very exciting, but I will try and schedule a YouTube live. That'll be very exciting, won't it? But let me just throw this, oh yeah, got him straight in the face. Sorry Steve, it's only a bit of paint. We finished our live now, finally. It's got a right shine on it. I don't know why, I don't like that shine. I don't know where it's come from. But anyway, there. He's done. I'm done, we're good. Okay, bye-bye everybody. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry that the shine is there. I don't know why. But anyway, I know, I've moved it and it still didn't... I turned it off and it was still shiny. Yeah. Yeah, you can turn it off now. Thank you everybody. Bye-bye.